DNA, bloodshed, identity, mystery, regret. We're going to cover it all in a simple song.
Maybe we could be more than friends and turn into lovers.
Welcome to Wild Songs, my beautiful people. Now, you know we're going to talk about the ache today. And some of you have been wondering, Kyle, why did you start this whole thing, this whole podcast with the ache? What's that all about? Well, for me, it's really simple. I chose this because it's a place where we can all be on the same page because we can all feel it. Whether it's an ache for relationships or community or God's presence or our culture or more meaningful jobs or deeper conversations or better songs, we all know the ache. And you can sum it up with one word: more. An ache is a longing or a desire or a need for more. Like something's not as it should be. Something's off. Something's incongruent. And we know it. So this episode is going to be summed up in a simple sentence by hands down the greatest literary giant of small pithy statements, the most quotable man in English language, my guy, G.K. Chesterton. He says, "Let your religion be less of a theory and more of a love affair." I think we so often get this confused. We think religion is this set of rules, or practicing spirituality is about understanding these concepts or theories. No, there's an actual person. There's a personality that I'm getting to know. It's a romantic endeavor. It's a love affair. So today we're going to talk about what that love affair looks like, what it means to be more than friends. Let's dive in. I really want to connect with all you beautiful lyricists out there. You know who you are. Disguising yourselves as songwriters when you really just have notebooks full of words hanging around your house. All jokes aside, you are a wonderful breed. I've worked with hundreds of artists, and I've always loved the lyric first person.
You inspire me. I shall write some lyrics for you.
Ideas seem to just flow to you through language, through words first. I love it. I wish that was me. I'm kind of the opposite. Melodies and rhythms and musical ideas are a constant faucet. And lyrics are the things that I have to, intentionally work on. So for you lyric brains out there, I want to kick your butt a little bit. Words are not enough. Words are not your only message. In songs, it's how you express those words with the melody, with your music, that's the message. Your music is speaking something too. I work with songwriters on this with a simple exercise. The words, I love you. I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Those are all speaking something differently, even though we're using the same words. So the point is, yes, you might have freaking awesome lyrics and rhyme scheme and metaphors and images, great. But now, how are they being expressed? For a lot of people, they're not. They're just sitting there in a notebook, waiting for a musician to do something with them. Or maybe you do write the music and it sounds maybe generic or decent or mediocre songs. Nothing bad, but just nothing special. So on this episode, I want to show how poetry, not really even just lyric-minded words, but more poetic in style, how it can be set to write music that makes it feel alive and bring out something deep underneath. Dress up the words in a way that make it really shine. Because those words aren't meant to just sit there on paper. They're supposed to dance and sing and leap and dig into dark chords and lift high above the cello line. So on the last song, High Tide, there was over 90 tracks to make that production. It was fun. But on this song, it's about simplicity. So you're going to hear in this song the dance between just 6 tracks. Obviously, voice and piano in the middle, cello on the left, mandolin on the right, and then drums and bass come in halfway through the song. And listen to how they interact with each other. And they carry the melody at times and they respond to the vocals. This is all trying to reflect that relational dynamic of love. There's interaction and responding and supporting and yearning. Now let's talk about form. I'm constantly experimenting with form and structure, both on the micro scale. This is like your lyric and rhyme schemes, your melodic phrasing, but also the macro level. This is the overall shape or direction of your song. And experimenting with this to try a new form, the music and lyrics always just kind of come with a quirk to them. Whether it's a chord out of the key or a missing beat, phrase, or maybe a new section that only happens once. My writing feels very natural to me, but it never looks perfect on paper. And I think there's a nice human quality to that. Sort of like how the two sides of our face aren't perfectly symmetrical, or how when we stand comfortably, we don't stand perfectly straight. In other words, we've got pizzazz. And part of what I do with artists is helping them get out of that, Nashville cookie cutter mode of writing where they learn to experiment and explore and be daring and take risks and try new things. So this form allows for a looser rhyme scheme to happen. And like I said, it was written more as poetry than lyrics. And when that happens, for you, what do you do? For me, I tend to push into ideas. I tend to explore and ask questions. I tend to get messy. And that's where the joy of making songs happens. So back to the lyrics. Let's geek out here. One of my favorite lines is, "Flooded with my daughter's light, she carries more than just the blood of progress and law steeped in time. She speaks a realm of unbridled truth that brings me to my knees." Now you're going to hear this. This is probably one of my favorite verses I've ever made. There's just some intangible quality to it. I don't know how to express it, but it feels like it's saying way more. One thing that I'm doing lyrically, though, is I'm doing a play on words there. Progress and law steeped in time. But I'm also saying progress and lost deep in time. Lost deep in time. So this line has several meanings, but I'll start with this idea. My daughter Lydian, who I wrote about in this song, my daughter was designed by the hand of God. She has a purpose and identity. She carries within her the light of her maker. That very idea offends and upsets people. I see it and I read about it every day. So that's why I got my DNA shirt on today. Because in our DNA is the most complex language ever created. So each of us, think about this for just a second. Each of us carry within every cell of our body a language from our maker. So whether you have your worst day or your best day, whether you feel like $1,000,000 or you feel like a piece of crap, you in your core are signed, you're stamped, you are designed with a grand artist, his language on every part of you, his language in every part of you.
Mind blown.
See, I'm not coming from a religious scholar here or a pious man of faith. I'm simply coming as an artist. Think about it. As an artist, I look into her eyes and I can't help but think, how can you not see God right there? It's baffling to me. I want to say it's amusing, but honestly, it's a sad thought. How is it possible that we could look at a child in the eyes and say that they're the product of time, progress, and chance, the law of natural selection? Progress and law. This is our modern perception of how we humans are here. Richard Dawkins, one of the world's leading atheists, says the universe that we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is, at bottom, no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but pitiless indifference. DNA neither cares nor knows. DNA just is, and we dance to its music. Really? That's it? That's all our modern world has the capacity to see. No, man. She carries more than that. She carries light, and I'm flooded with it. It brings me to my knees, and thanks to my maker, I'm overwhelmed that not only do I get to be a human, but out of all the things in the known universe, the most complex, sophisticated, beautiful thing is right in front of me. The human mind, the human spirit, the human being. She's right there. And we wonder, when is God going to reveal himself to us? Why is God so hard to discover? That's a product of your culture. That's not a product of God's hiddenness. Let me say that again. When we wonder about why God seems to be hidden or why we can't discover God, that says more about our culture that we've grown up in than God's nature. And I really want you to examine, because I've had to do this in my own life. how we can go year after year growing up in this modern, Western, scientific culture, this machine where we don't even perceive the spiritual realm. We don't learn to look for it. And then we assume, well, this is just how things really are. We've come so far, progress, and read our own rules, law, and we get to a place of arrogance that blinds us. And I can't think of another description than blindness to place on a perception. It's delusional to look at one who carries the imago Dei, the image of God, as simply a biological shot in the dark. At the least, the one who looks at it that way is certainly not an artist. I'll say it that way. It's not a coincidence that our postmodern culture where truth is no more, that arose at the same time that we dehumanized infants and started thinking about kids as a burden. Surely we've become fools. Chesterton speaks again. This is over 100 years ago. The most unfathomable schools and sages have never attained to the gravity which dwells in the eyes of a baby. It's this foolishness I bring up that unlocks the main theme of the song that gets expanded in the long building section. And as usual, I'm speaking louder to myself than I ever call out others. Believe me, my foolishness has me torn between settling and being God's friend and actually becoming his lover. I'm not talking about Jesus, my boyfriend. I'm talking about proximity with a person. We're all familiar with the whole, I think we should just be friends. That has caused many a broken heart.
We can just be friends.
No person ever wants to hear that line when they're pursuing someone for a deeper relationship. And I guess I'm trying to get at the thought that we're doing this all the time to our Maker. We're awkward and foolish and satisfied with ourselves and our petty little lives that we say, let's not get too serious here. Let's just be cool and take a step back. You do your thing, I'll do mine. It's ironic because I hear this all the time from people like, God is love. God is just pure love. And it's used as an argument against the religious folks in any conversation you want to talk about. The thing is, it's true. It's totally true. God is pure love. And that love doesn't like settling for, just friends status. That love is wild and fierce and strong and fights. It fights as love should for something more. It's a passionate fire that burns past these stages of, acquaintance, past friendship, past all that, and it desires to be lovers. That's what love does. It seeks intimacy. So here God is being all pure love and all, as we expect him to be. And here we are, such fools, saying, I think that's a little too much. Yikes. So friend, I want to invite you right now into a new space. Put your headphones on, silence your phone, put away competing distractions. Soak in these lyrics and be nourished. As always, I love that you're drinking this in. I appreciate that you're taking the time to examine this work that I've created. And I pray that it moves you as it has moved me. Blessings.
Suddenly I realize the clock has struck, the urban night fails to compellingly shine. And here I am, a lonely cottage sitting in the hills, sitting in the hills. How is it I treat this life, these hopes and dreams, these seeds?
really hope as you've listened to the song and as you listen in the future that you feel something ancient and simple and something that has life to it, that you can start with just looking at another human's eyes and being overcome to eventually staring into the eyes of the one, the maker, the artist, this misunderstood, abused, overlooked, mocked one, the one who cried out with an ache and an agony that people would know him. And Jesus said one time to his own people, to the city that he loved, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who killed the prophets and stoned those sent to you. How often I've longed to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you are not willing. My friend, be willing today. Be gathered in. Don't be at a distance. Welcome the ache. It's the ache of the kingdom of God. It's the longing of God's heart. Maybe it's whispering or maybe it's screaming at you for more, for that ache to be apparent. And let me know in the comments like how this song hit you. Please share your experience with me. It's not to make me feel great or puff up my ego, trust me. It's to celebrate with you and be grateful that we have this gift of music that can stir people and change people. That's what I love about songwriting. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, go carry that light today. I pray that you learn to live a life where in terms of your maker, you aren't just friends, but you learn how to become a lover.